So picture this, a world of just crushing pressure, freezing cold, and absolute unending darkness.
Right. No sunlight ever gets down there.
And finding your next meal is, well, it's a constant challenge.
Yeah.
Yet life somehow not only exists, but thrives there.
Thanks to some truly mind-bending adaptations.
Exactly. And today, we're taking a deep dive into that world to meet probably its most iconic resident, the deep-sea anglerfish.
Ah, yes. The one with the famous glowing lantern hanging off its head. Everyone knows that image.
We've sifted through a stack of fascinating sources, really covering everything from those luminous lures to its truly radical survival and reproductive strategies.
That's right. And just to clarify, our focus today is squarely on the deep-sea anglerfish, the Serratioideae. They're quite distinct from the anglerfish you might find in shallower waters.
Different group entirely.
Yeah, and for these deep-sea ones, that bioluminescent lure isn't just some cool feature. It's absolutely central to everything. Their hunting, finding mates, their whole existence.
So our mission today is to really unpack how these creatures manage to not just survive, but actually kind of dominate one of Earth's most challenging environments. We want to extract the key insights, the surprising stuff that might make you rethink life itself.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's start with the basics. What does a creature built for this, well, alien world actually look like?
Well, there's a lot of diversity, but some key things stand out. Size-wise, most species are actually quite modest, less than a foot, maybe 30 centimeters long.
Okay, not monsters then.
Usually not, but then you get the giants like Cryer's deep-sea anglerfish. That one can reach 1.2 meters, almost 4 feet, and around 10 kilos.
Whoa.
But here's where it gets really wild. The males, they're often just a few centimeters long.
Tiny.
Extremely tiny. Some dwarf males are only 6 to 10 millimeters. That makes them among the smallest vertebrates known. Just miniature.
That's an almost unbelievable size difference. What does that tell us about, well, the male's role?
It tells you a lot about their highly specialized purpose, which we'll definitely get into later. It's quite something.
Okay. And the females, their shape.
Many females have this very round, sort of globular, almost ball-like body shape.
Not streamlined for swimming fast.
Exactly. It's not built for speed. It's optimized for energy conservation. Allows them to just hang there, motionless, waiting.
Ah, ambush predator style.
Precisely. Though there are exceptions, like the whip-nose anglers, they have more elongated bodies, maybe for brief bursts of swimming. But generally, their bodies are soft, kind of fragile.
Soft, under all that pressure.
Yeah, their skeletons are reduced, less dense, less muscle mass too. It all helps with buoyancy and saving energy. Their skin is usually dark black, dark gray, brown, very thin, no scales.
Camouflage in the dark.
Probably. And often they have little growths or bumps, but the skin is so fragile it can easily just slip off if they're handled, like when brought up in nets.
Wow. And the mouth. That's always prominent in pictures.
Oh yeah, it's disproportionately large. Huge, and filled with these sharp, fang-like, often translucent, needle-like teeth.
Scary looking.
They are, and some of those teeth are depressible. They can fold inwards as prey goes in.
Making it easier to swallow.
Right, but then they spring back up to stop anything escaping, and the jaws themselves are incredibly extensible. They can engulf prey up to twice their own body size.
Twice their size. How?
It's an amazing adaptation for a place where meals are few and far between.
It sounds like every single part of them is just designed for ultra efficiency and this specific patient kind of predation. But, living in total darkness, how do they navigate? How do they sense anything?
Good question. With no light, their eyes are predictably small, very limited vision, if any useful vision at all.
So sights out. What else?
They rely heavily on other senses. They have these filamentous structures on their bodies, tactile organs. They detect subtle movements, vibrations in the water around them.
Feeling their way around.
Sort of. But crucially, especially for the males, it's smell. Male anglerfish have incredibly highly developed olfactory organs. Massive compared to their size.
Why the male specifically?
To detect pheromones, waterborne chemical signals released by the females. They need to find females over vast distances in that darkness.
So the females release scents.
Yes, and maybe even the lure, the esca itself, might produce pheromones too. It's a whole chemical communication system.
Yeah, makes sense.
It really shows a major evolutionary shift, doesn't it? Vision is drastically reduced, while chemosensory smell and mechanosensory touch systems are strongly enhanced.
Use it or lose it.
Exactly. A classic example. Why waste energy on big eyes when smell and touch are what really matter down there?
Okay, but the showstopper, the thing everyone thinks of, is that light, isn't it? That
Yeah.
glowing fishing rod. How does that even work?
Right, the lure. Technically, the light-emitting part is the esca, or the bait, and it sits at the end of this modified dorsal fin spine called the elysium, the rod. It juts out from their head.
And is it always the same shape?
Oh, not at all. The esca's morphology is incredibly diverse across different species.
Hmm.
It can be whip-shaped, forked, sometimes astonishingly long, like 5 times the fish's body length and
At
gigantactus.
times. Wow.
Yeah, some are hinged, some even have bony hooks. A few species even have multiple lures.
Noticeable lights.
It happens. But it's important to remember this whole Elysium and Esca setup is almost exclusively found in female deep-sea anglerfish. There are a few rare exceptions that don't have light organs at all, but generally it's the females doing the fishing.
So how does this lantern actually glow? Is it like electrical or
Oh,
something the fish makes itself?
it's actually far more fascinating. The light isn't produced by the fish itself.
No.
No.
Yeah.
It's made by symbiotic bioluminescent bacteria. They live inside specialized cells within the Esca.
Bacteria are making the light.
That's right. It's a mutualistic relationship, a partnership. The bacteria gets a safe place to live, nutrients.
And the fish gets a built-in flashlight.
Exactly, a living flashlight. A fishery is a well-known type of bacteria involved in these kinds of symbioses.
So the fish has to acquire these bacteria somehow.
That's a really interesting area of research. How they get them, maintain the culture. Some preliminary data even suggests these bacteria might still be able to move out into the water column. It implies this ongoing dynamic co-evolution, almost like a unique third type of symbiosis. It's complex.
Okay, so bacteria make the light. How? Chemically.
Yes, it's a biochemical reaction. Basically, a molecule called luciferin reacts with an enzyme called luciferase. That reaction produces light.
Like a firefly.
Similar principle, yeah. But remarkably energy efficient. Almost 100% of the energy goes into light, very little heat. And terrestrial light production needs oxygen, and it's often regulated by something called quorum sensing.
Quorum sensing, like in politics.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It means the bacteria only start glowing once they reach a certain population density. Like, they sense they have enough neighbors to make it worthwhile.
A bacterial light switch based on numbers.
Pretty much. And the light they emit is usually blue-green.
Why that color?
Because those wavelengths travel furthest in seawater. Maximum visibility in the deep.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So it's not just a passive glow then.
Mm.
Can the fish control it? Use it actively?
Absolutely. The esca isn't just a blob of bacteria, it's a complex organ. It has those vesicles packed with bacteria, but also layers that absorb light, reflective tissue, nerves, blood vessels.
It's wired in.
Oh, yeah. And there are muscular fibers in the elysium, the rod part. This allows the anglerfish to actively move the lure. They can wiggle it, jerk it, make it dance around.
They're making prey.
Exactly, making it look like a small, tasty meal. Plus, they can often control the light itself. Many have a muscular skin flap they can use to cover or uncover the esca.
Turning it on and off. Or making it flash.
Precisely. And if the lure gets damaged, say bitten off, it can actually regenerate.
It grows back.
It can, yeah, though it takes months, apparently, and obviously their hunting is less efficient while it's regrowing.
So this light isn't just, a neat trick. It seems absolutely vital. Why is it so critical down there?
Well, the primary function, the one everyone knows, is attracting prey. Luring unsuspecting small fish, crustaceans, right into that huge mouth.
The fishing rod analogy is pretty spot on then.
It really is. But that's not all. It's also crucial for finding a mate.
Ah, right. In that vast darkness.
Exactly. How else do you find each other? The glowing esca acts as a beacon. It signals the female's presence to any potential males nearby, draws them in.
So it's both offense and romance. Predation and reproduction.
Couldn't put it better myself. It's a multifunctional survival tool, essential for both feeding and finding a partner in one of the most challenging habitats on Earth.
Are there any exceptions to this bacterial light? Or even more unique light tricks?
Well, like I mentioned, a few don't have light organs, but for unique, you have to look at the genus Lenifrin, the net devils.
Net devils, what do they do?
They have the standard bacterial light organ on their esca, like many others, but they also have a second complex light-producing organ. It's on a barbell hanging from their chin.
Another light.
Yes, but here's the kicker. The light from this chin barbell is not made by bacteria. It's generated internally by the fish itself, using photogenic granules within its own cells.
So it evolved two completely different ways to make light.
Apparently so. within the same genus. It's considered unique in the animal kingdom. It just underscores how incredibly strong the evolutionary pressure for using light must be in the deep sea. Two independent solutions in one fish.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about their looks, their senses, the lure. What about the environment itself? What does it really take to survive down there?
Right, the deep sea. These anglerfish are found pretty much globally in tropical and temperate waters, but always deep. They're pelagic, meaning they live in the open water column, not usually right on the seabed.
How deep are we talking?
Their range spans the mesopelagic zone, the twilight zone, roughly 200 to 1,000 meters down, and the bacopelagic zone, the midnight zone, from 1,000 down to 4,000 meters. Some even deeper, maybe 5,000 meters.
That's incredibly deep. The pressure must be immense.
Phenomenal pressure, over 200 times the atmospheric pressure we feel at the surface. And they handle it because their bodies are fundamentally different. Soft, gelatinous. Crucially, they have no air-filled spaces, no swim bladder like many surface fish.
Because air would compress.
Exactly, it would be crushed instantly. So no swim bladder. Their skeletons and muscles are strong but flexible. Soft bodies handle pressure better. That's also why they look so distorted when brought to the surface quickly. The rapid pressure change is lethal. They swell up, eyes bulge.
A tough environment to visit, let alone live in.
Yeah.
And the temperature.
Cold, very cold, often near freezing, between 0 and 10 degrees Celsius, even in tropical latitudes once you get deep enough. Some live in polar waters, too.
So they need adaptations for cold, too.
Yeah, specialized physiology. Things like antifreeze proteins in their blood, enzymes that work efficiently at low temperatures.
And with food being scarce, I assume their metabolism is different.
Absolutely. They have a remarkably slow metabolism compared to shallower water fish. It's crucial for conserving energy. They can go for very long periods without eating.
Just hanging out, waiting.
Pretty much. And their body composition helps with that too. That reduced bone density and muscle mass we mentioned, it helps them achieve neutral buoyancy.
Meaning they can just float effortlessly.
Exactly. Without expending much energy to stay at a certain depth, it all ties together: slow metabolism, neutral buoyancy, ambush predation. It's an energy-saving masterclass.
Do they swim much at all?
Generally, no. They're not built for speed or endurance, sit-and-wait predators. Though, interestingly, some species have been observed swimming upside down.
Upside down. Why?
The hypothesis is it might be another energy-saving posture, or maybe it helps position the lure optimally. Still a bit of a mystery. But you see how all these adaptations are interconnected, right? It's not just one thing. It's a whole toolkit: pressure resistance, cold tolerance, low metabolism, buoyancy, sensory shifts, all working together for life in this extreme multi-stressor environment.
It really paints a picture of creature perfectly, if strangely, suited to its world.
Perfectly. But it also highlights the trade-offs. That fragility, the inability to handle pressure changes, makes them incredibly difficult to study alive. We rely heavily on deep-sea tech ROVs, AUVs, to even get a glimpse.
Okay, so we know they wait patiently. How exactly do they make the kill? The feast or famine hunter in action.
Right. They are the definition of ambush predators. Extreme patience, conserving every bit of energy. They hang motionless, maybe gently waving that lure.
Using the Elysium and Esca as that fishing rod and bait.
Exactly. Actively manipulating it, making it twitch or pulse, mimicking the movements of a small creature, making it irresistible.
Yeah.
Once an unsuspecting fish or crustacean gets close enough, drawn into that strike zone, the anglerfish attacks.
How fast?
Incredibly fast. An explosive strike. They snap that enormous mouth shut.
You mentioned their mouth earlier. What really stands out to you about their ability to eat?
Well, it's the sheer scale of it, that disproportionately large mouth, the sharp teeth,
Yeah.
but also the expandability.
Right, you said twice their size.
Yeah, the jaws are highly distensible, and the whole oral cavity, the inside of the mouth, can expand dramatically.
Yeah.
Maybe up to 6 times its resting size during a strike.
It's times.
It's astonishing. And coupled with that, their stomach is also exceptionally expandable, so they can literally swallow prey much, much larger than seems possible. Up to twice their own size, sometimes even more.
Which is vital if you only eat occasionally.
Absolutely vital in a food-scarce world. Maximize every opportunity. And the capture itself is just blindingly fast, sometimes as little as 6 milliseconds.
Millisecond.
Yeah, it's one of the fastest predatory strikes known in the animal kingdom. Blink and you miss it. And those hinged teeth we talked about, they let the prey slide in easily but lock it in place. No escape. So you connect these features: the huge, fast mouth, the expandable stomach, the patient waiting, the slow metabolism, and you see the feast or famine strategy perfectly. Get a massive meal when you can, then live off it for a long, long time. Pure energy efficiency.
And what are they eating down there, besides things bigger than themselves?
Huh. Well, mostly other deep-sea fish. Crustaceans like shrimp. Sometimes cephalopods like squid. They're pretty opportunistic carnivores, whatever the lure brings in.
Okay. Hunting is one thing. But if you thought that was unique, wait until we talk about reproduction. Finding a mate in that vast, empty darkness. That seems like maybe the biggest challenge of all.
It absolutely is. And this is where deep-sea anglerfish, they really go off the evolutionary deep end, so to speak. We touched on the size difference.
It's extreme sexual dimorphism, right? Tiny males, much larger females.
Dramatically smaller, often by an order of magnitude or more. Remember those dwarf males, just 6 to 10 millimeters long, compared to females that can be over a meter?
It's hard to even picture. So how does that work for mating? This isn't just a casual date, is it? What's this ultimate commitment that happens?
It's a strategy called sexual parasitism, and it's really the defining reproductive feature for many of these deep-sea anglerfish families.
Sexual parasitism, what does that mean?
It means the male lives as a parasite on the female. It sounds bizarre, but it's an incredibly effective way to guarantee reproduction when finding a partner is exceptionally rare.
So the male finds a female. How?
Guided by those pheromones we mentioned, and maybe the female's light, once the tiny male locates a female, he physically attaches himself to her.
Attaches how?
By biting her, usually somewhere on her body, head, belly, near the tail. He latches onto this specialized teeth.
And then what? Does he stay there?
It varies. In some species, the attachment might be temporary. The male gets some nourishment from her, mates, and then might detach, maybe find another female.
Okay.
But in many species, at least 5 of the 11 families, the attachment is permanent and irreversible. He fuses with her.
Fuses, like becomes part of her.
Exactly. Their tissues fuse. His circulatory system connects directly with hers. They share a bloodstream.
Wow. So he's completely dependent on her.
Totally. From that moment on, he gets all his nutrients directly from her blood. He essentially becomes an appendage.
And what happens to the rest of him?
Yep.
His body.
It undergoes this dramatic reduction. He degenerates. He loses his eyes, his fins, most of his internal organs.
Everything except
his testes. His reproductive organs remain functional, often even enlarging. He becomes, effectively, a dedicated sperm factory attached to the female.
Just there to provide sperm whenever she needs it.
For her entire reproductive lifespan. It guarantees fertilization whenever she's ready to spawn. And get this, some females have been found with multiple males fused to them.
Multiple? How many?
Up to 8 males permanently attached to a single female has been recorded.
8 sperm factories.
It maximizes her reproductive output, ensures genetic diversity, perhaps. It's an incredible solution to the mate-finding problem.
Okay, biologically, this raises a huge question. Normally, if you attach tissue from one individual to another, the immune system attacks it, right? Rejection. How does her body not reject him? He's genetically different.
That is the million-dollar question, and the answer is truly groundbreaking. It turns out their immune systems are compromised in a very specific way.
Compromised how?
Research, especially genomic studies, has shown that during the evolution of this parasitic mating, anglerfish lost key genes involved in the adaptive immune system.
They lost parts of their immune system.
The parts responsible for recognizing and attacking foreign tissue. Specifically, genes involved in T-cell recognition and antibody production, like one called ACDA, seem to be non-functional or missing in species with permanent attachment.
So they literally evolved to not reject their parasitic mates.
Essentially, yes. They sacrifice parts of their immune defense, something that would be lethal for most other vertebrates, to allow this unique form of reproduction to succeed.
That's an astonishing trade-off.
Yeah.
Adapting their fundamental biology in a way that seems counterintuitive, all for a guaranteed family legacy.
It really is radical. It highlights the extreme length evolution will go to solve a problem, especially a problem as fundamental as reproduction in such a sparse environment. Sexual parasitism is the ultimate way to ensure an endless supply of sperm once that incredibly difficult task of finding a mate is achieved.
So the pheromones guide the male, he finds her, latches on, fuses, and becomes part of her reproductive system.
That's the gist of it for many species. And when the female is ready to spawn, she releases a huge number of eggs, tens, even hundreds of thousands, often in these large gelatinous sheets or egg rafts that float upwards towards the surface layers.
For fertilization.
Presumably, fertilization happens then, or as they float. The larvae develop in shallower, perhaps more food-rich waters before eventually descending back down to the depths as they mature.
Wow. What the anglerfish shows us isn't just how life adapts, but the incredible, sometimes almost brutal logic of evolution when pushed to the absolute extreme.
That's a good way to put it.
That multifunctional light, the energy-saving body, and this truly radical reproduction.
Mm.
It's just a testament to life's ability to find a way, no matter the conditions.
Absolutely. And ecologically, they're important too. As primary carnivores down there, they play a significant role, even if we don't see them often. They're transferring energy up the food web in those deep zones.
Cycling nutrients.
Exactly. Capturing those large prey items is a key part of energy flow in these very resource-limited ecosystems. But despite how fascinating they are, there's still so much we don't know. Studying them is just inherently difficult.
Because of the depth and their fragility.
Right. Bringing them up often damages them beyond study, and observing them in situ requires expensive, advanced technology, those ROVs, AUVs, specialized cameras, and samplers. Genomics is helping unlock some secrets, like the immune system story, but there are many mysteries left.
So the deep-sea anglerfish really has pushed the absolute limits of biological adaptation to survive in what feels like another planet, an alien world within our own.
It really does feel that way.
What does this astonishing creature tell you about the sheer adaptability of life? And maybe more importantly, what does it make you wonder about all the other secrets still hidden in the deep, dark parts of our own planet?